It seems Mark Garrett caught you live. Thumbs up, matey. Good to see you. Excellent stuff. So yeah, all y'all hit the like button, help the channel out. Let's roll the intros. Ta-da! That was good, wasn't it? So this is the Bitcoin price action up behind me right now. I'm Rocky Outcrop, and welcome to the show. I wanted to talk about the 50% point between previous highs and lows, and how it is so often incorporated into indicators, and it also has a similarity to it almost with moving averages. If you think about the difference between the high and the low and going for that midpoint, that's kind of like an average between those two prices, or you could say that's precisely what it is. And this, of course, then moves as the chart goes forward. So you could describe the thing as being like a moving average as well, if you constantly draw out that point as you move forward in time. So how could you find that price point very quickly and easily? Well, there's a couple of ways of doing it, and you can see I've got a various some examples more or less on the screen just there of finding it real quick, but I'll just show you, of course, as well how you can find a price point as a 50% line between two areas, and that's quite simply as well using the Fibonacci tool. So that's handy. And then you've got the 50% line coming in there. I've got mine with a variety of colors on it. You can choose to color yours as you will, and indeed, if you're only looking to find out specific information, you can hide all the other numbers away there off of it and just only show the 50%, for example. Well, I'm showing more, but you get the point there. And that is one quick way of doing it, and that has also got various other information to go along with it, putting the price into a bit of context for you, and that's quite neat. There's another way of doing it, for instance, then just using indicators you can bring up on the screen. And one of them is the Donchian Channels, for example, here. And this shows you the highest point and looking back over a particular look back period. In this case, I've set mine to 26. So looking back over the previous 26 bars, it finds the high point, finds the low point, draws in that 50% line along there. Interestingly enough as well, that is a component of the Ichimoku Cloud. So if you're wondering why I'd used the number 26, then just popping on the Ichimoku Cloud, that's pretty neat as well. As you can see here, this red line is where that previous Donchian Channel one was showing the 50% area at. Let me just draw that in again by popping the Donchian Channels back on, so you can see that they do indeed line up with each other. And as you can see, bringing it on and off there, it lines up. That's quite handy to know as well. So it's a component within the Ichimoku Cloud. It's a component within the Fibonacci retracement tool. It's a component within Donchian Channels, and there are other examples, of course, out there as well. That's just to name a few. And it's not that amazing, really, to see that there are moving averages out there in the world that also line up near enough to where it is. And I could pop on all these moving averages to show you. I'll just show you the relationship instead of using moving averages, so to speak, by using the Bollinger Bands. And this white line is the baseline of the Bollinger Band, and that happens to be the 20 simple period moving average. And you can see that it's not a million miles away from where that Donchian Channel baseline is. Now, of course, that's not always the case. When you're looking at charts, there will be areas where the moving averages and the price action have had such a relationship so that the 50% price point might not line up exactly, as we're seeing here, of course, as it goes along. But it's never that million miles far away overall. And that's an interesting dynamic as well. And that's a component, I suppose, in a trending market, which is an interesting dynamic to know as well, how the prices are doing in relation to the past, and that's what that is used for, essentially. And that's a pretty neat sort of thing. So I don't know if you didn't know that before and how to find that price point, then that's kind of neat. And it's also perhaps handy to know that it lines up with a couple of moving averages that you can look at now. You can, of course, experiment with all this on your own trading view. And thanks for joining me for this little section here. And if you hit the like button, that would be appreciated. Great. Excellent. So let me just dive back in and see how everybody's doing in the chit chat there. I hope you liked that.